We all love Harry Potter. It was written by J.K. Rowling and then later adapted into a huge 8-film series. There are only 7 books, so it just goes to show how good those films really were. I've got a copy of the first film here on DVD, and I've always wondered, what would it be like if Harry Potter wasn't in the film? You see, the Wizarding World is so full of creativity and character, I mean look, there's hundreds of them, that you'd probably still have a really strong story on your hands, even if Harry Potter wasn't in it. Luckily, we have the answer to this very question. I actually worked with Warner Brothers on a secret edit of this film that didn't involve Harry Potter, and you'd actually be surprised how much he shows up in the original, so it's going to be quite different. So let me present to you some highlights and my own commentary on And the Philosopher's Stone. We start off with Dumbledore, as we did before. He and Professor McGonagall discuss some terrible events, and then, just as they seem like they will share some more details, the film abruptly skips forward a few hundred frames. Weird.
Do you think it wise to trust Hagrid with something as important as this?
She asks if they should trust Hagrid, but for what, we don't know. It doesn't really matter though, because we never pick up on that plot thread again, so roll the title credits. It's a pretty weak opening, and I have to question whether director David Yates really knew what he wanted from that scene. It doesn't really establish much of anything. Anyway, we pick up with the Dursleys, the next morning I guess, and Dudley is sprinting down the stairs looking forward to his birthday. He's so very excited. He closes the closet door as well as he goes past. What a good kid. Then, in one of the first continuity errors of the franchise, his dad tells him that he has 6 presents.
6. Counted them myself.
Even though there are clearly more than 6 presents.
36!
And then Dudley mishears him and says there are 36, which there are not. Pretty sloppy if you ask me, J.K. Rowling. For Dudley's birthday, they take him to the zoo and he falls into a snake enclosure. And then somehow there is glass in his way and he can't get back out. In my opinion, this is a bit of a plot hole, as it's never really explained what was going on with the glass. They return back home and are then harassed by owls for about 5 minutes. Now, creatively, I wasn't really happy about this and I fought against it in the edit. It doesn't really seem to serve any narrative purpose other than to get them to the island. Speaking of the island, once they're there, Hagrid breaks down the door. Remember him from earlier? So yeah, we actually introduced him at the start, which I think was a pretty neat editing trick. So anyway, he walks in, repairs the door after breaking it originally, breaks Vernon's gun, and then breaks the door again and leaves. The next 10 minutes of the film become a indie mumblecore adventure as we follow Hagrid to the pub, where everyone is just really weird. And then he leaves to take a leisurely stroll through Diagon Alley. Lastly, he stops at Gringotts, the Wizard Bank.
Gringotts, the Wizard Bank.
I just said that. Anyway, we get to watch in grueling detail as this little gremlin unlocks a door. Turns out he has loads of money, which is nice, but it never really comes up again. And I won't spoil this for you, but this little rock that he picks up here is pretty important to the plot. You could say it's part of the title of the movie. Just before we move on, what was up with the Dursleys from earlier? They introduced us to this whole family, and then they just disappear practically from the rest of the movie? Maybe they're setting up for a sequel where Dudley becomes a wizard? I don't know. We cut to the Weasleys, and Ron, one of the many main characters of the film, is preparing to get onto platform 9 3/4. It's Ron's first time to Hogwarts, so he's pretty nervous. On the train he meets Hermione, and they have some quite confusing dialogue. But the dialogue itself isn't the worst part. In a moment you'll see that Ron actually turns to the camera and stares at it, as if for comedic effect.
Are you sure
How did
that's a
nobody
real
notice that?
spell? Well, it's not very good, is it?
Somebody tell this guy to knock it
I'm
off.
Hermione Granger. And
Now the actress playing Hermione here has this really weird habit of looking away from where Ron is sitting. I don't know what she's playing at.
arriving soon.
There's nobody there, Hermione. He's over here. Oh yeah, finally she's found him.
You've got dirt on your nose, by the way. Did you know?
Stop looking at the goddamn camera! Next they're brought to Hogwarts, where they're introduced to Professor McGonagall.
Your house will be like your family.
And then there's this weird subplot about a frog. Not really sure what this is all about. Here we're introduced to the main antagonist of the film, Draco Malfoy. Ron makes the mistake of laughing at Draco on the first day of school. Then Draco retaliates by basically calling him a ginger peasant.
Red hair and a hand-me-down robe.
This cuts Ron deeply. They are then taken into the Great Hall, where they see the sorting hat, and are sorted into their houses. but it felt like they were building tension for something that never came. Both Ron and Hermione ended up sorted into Gryffindor as they expected. I'll admit, it's at this point that the narrative structure really starts to break down. Next, we're treated to a weird creeper shot of the children sleeping.
Hey look, Neville's got a remember-all.
You can forget about this little ball thing, never shows up again. This scene's supposed to be teaching them to ride their brooms, but she doesn't seem to tell them anything.
Well, what are you waiting for?
And then he just gets it instantly. But, as you see here, Ron struggles, in keeping with their rivalry. Now, I'll fast forward through this for you, but this kid seems to have a lot of trouble on the broom, and he gets stuck, and he's just sort of left there for the rest of the film. We never see him again. The film cuts abruptly to them in a dungeon, and then they're being chased by this guy. It doesn't make much sense. Though at least it shows our two main characters getting to interact together. And now they'll use their teleportation spell to get to the other side of this door. There you go. Yeah, I got no idea what that was all about. They end up back in school the next day, and this guy's a really weird teaching style.
Movement we've been practicing. Good.
Yeah, they apparently knew what that meant.
Wingardium Leviosa. Off you go then.
So in this scene you can see that Draco, again, picks it up pretty quick. Good job. And he's not very good. Ron's not great at it.
Stop. You're going to take someone's eye out. Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
You do it then if you're
So Hermione ends up doing it really well, as expected, and then she walks off feeling quite accomplished. Next, Ron is at the feast, and Hermione has just popped to the bathroom when a troll appears. The kids freak out, but Dumbledore gets it back under control.
Now, teachers will follow me to the dungeon.
And this guy makes a run for it. As Hermione comes back from the bathroom, she bumps into the troll. And she has to do a bit of an escape from the troll, but she is a 10-year-old girl, so she struggles. However, in the chaos, Ron has actually got lost.
Swish and flick.
Wingardium Leviosa.
And he manages to get the club to fall on the ogre's head, and the problem is solved.
Oh my goodness.
It's my
Whoa,
fault,
you don't need to interrupt her like that. It's a bit rude.
If Ron hadn't come and found me, I'd probably be dead.
Yeah, so Hermione doesn't realise that Ron basically stumbled into the girls' bathroom like an idiot. There's a weird cutaway to this stadium, I guess, but we never get to see the sport that they're cheering. Next we skip from winter straight to spring, through this nice transition. I guess nothing interesting happens over Christmas. While we have a bit of downtime, did you know that I'm actually a very successful YouTuber? Right now there's a bug where it shows I only have around 130 subscribers instead of the actual count of 130,000 subscribers. There's also a weird glitch where the view count gets locked around a few hundred views, sometimes even less than 100, and I'm not really sure what to do about it. But as I'm a real YouTuber, I actually do have a sponsor for this video. Today's sponsor is Displate, metal posters that you... Wait, no, this says... What the heck is a disc plate? Get 20% off your first order on disc plates and other circular crockery with code LELLINGTON. Okay, so the plot's about to pick up really fast, though certain key elements of the plot seem to drop in after they should, so we spend a lot of time not really sure what the characters are doing and why. Let's take a look. So here Hermione figures out what the dog from earlier was guarding.
Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Philosopher's Stone.
But Ron, for the viewer's benefit, looks confused about why we're even talking about it.
The Philosopher's Stone.
Ron and Hermione speak to Hagrid, who tells them that Snape isn't trying to steal it,
Teacher's protecting the stone.
but we never thought he was.
Come on now, I'm a bit preoccupied today.
I don't know why Ron looks at the dog like this.
Of course.
They ask a lot of questions about what's defending the Philosopher's Stone. I'm not sure why, maybe it's a school project. Anyway, we cut to Hagrid, whose beard is on fire, don't ask. He sees that Malfoy has spotted them in Hagrid's hut, which is grounds for a detention. He turns them in, and Professor McGonagall makes the film's second big math error.
All four of you will receive detention.
Tom Felton notices this, and in the middle of the scene just calls out the actress for a mistake.
Perhaps I heard you wrong. I thought you said the four of us.
No, you heard me correctly, Mr. Malfoy.
I heard that she walked off set and refused to do another take. So apparently the punishment for spending the night hanging around with Hagrid is spending the night hanging around with Hagrid.
Students aren't allowed. And there are... werewolves.
So then Hagrid and the three kids head into the forest.
See that? That's unicorn blood, that is.
I don't think this guy should be anywhere near these kids.
I found one dead. It's our job.
And then he tries to send Draco out alone.
Ron, Hermione, you'll come with me.
Okay. Okay, then I get Fang.
Fine.
And he reluctantly
Just so
gives him
you
his
know.
dog.
He's a bloody coward.
Then we get this really weird scene of this hooded creature eating a unicorn. Malfoy runs away, of course. And then we get this strange action scene where a centaur attacks him and then he runs away. And then the centaur acts like he saved someone.
You must leave.
Oh, there's no one here. Okay, bye then. So that whole little segment was kind of weird and didn't really go anywhere, but we cut to the next day where Ron and Hermione are talking to Professor McGonagall. And surprise, surprise, she gets some math wrong.
I don't know how you three found out about the story.
There's only
but I
two of
assure you
them.
It's perfectly well protected.
Professor, are you drunk?
Now, would you go back to your dormitories? Quietly.
Anyway, she doesn't listen to them, and I think the idea of the film right now is that they want to go and find the Philosopher's Stone to protect it. So then they take matters into their own hands. So they just open up the hatch and wander straight in. The dog tries to protect the door, but he does a bad job at it. They fall into a pit of vines, and Hermione realises they have to relax in order to get out.
Stop moving. You have to relax.
Now I can relax.
Hermione has no patience for sarcasm.
Do what I say.
But as always, Ron is useless, and Hermione has to take it into her own hands. Next, Ron and Hermione enter a room of flying keys.
Hello, Hamora.
Ron tries some magic to open up a locked door and fails. And Hermione has no patience for it.
There must be 1,000.
So she just grabs a key out of the air and unlocks the door. And they escape to the next room. Pretty uneventful, really. To get to the Philosopher's Stone, Ron and Hermione will need to play this game of chess.
What do we do?
And it's actually Ron, who's not shown any intelligence in the movie so far, that takes the lead.
You there, D5.
And then Ron, who watches his piece get destroyed, decides he wants a turn.
No, you can't. There must be another way. Do you want to stop Snape from getting that stone or not?
Snape? Did he say Snape?
To H.
I thought Hagrid said it wasn't him. Wait. Why is any of this happening? Who is trying to take the Philosopher's Stone? You know, while we're asking questions, I've actually got a better one. Who the heck is this? This guy? Who the heck is he? That's not Ron. We've seen Ron. Who the heck is this? Anyway, in a tragic ending, Ron is knocked off of his horse and he's mortally wounded. In tribute to Ron, Hermione stares directly at the camera. Thanks, Hermione. After Ron recovers, him and Hermione have a really weird conversation at a balcony.
All right. You?
Never better.
I can't wait to see the back of you weirdos.
In fourth place, Gryffindor with 312 points. With 472 points, Slytherin House.
So there you have it. Slytherin have clearly won the House Cup by winning by over 100 points.
However, recent events must be taken into account.
I'm sorry,
For
what?
Miss Hermione Granger, for the cool use of intellect, while others were in grave peril. 50 points.
Okay, so that's 362.
Second, to Mr. Ronald Weasley, for the best played game of chess, 50 points.
And that's 412.
Assuming that my calculations are correct, I believe that a change of decoration is in order.
What? What do you mean? What?
Gryffindor wins.
Does math work differently in
the House
Hogwarts?
Cup.
And that's it. Hermione and Ron head off for the end of the school year, and Hagrid is there to wave them goodbye. Who the heck is this kid? Oh, that's awkward. Yeah, just smile and wave, Hagrid. Smile and wave. Well, that's the end of the video. If you want, you can subscribe and you can help us reach 150,000 subscribers. Please also consider liking the video so that we can hit 1,000 likes. I know that's a bit lower than normal, but video's over. Bye-bye.